then Florida was big. We had to narrow it down. Were we talking Key West? Were we talking the East Coast or the West Coast? We had to really, and I really had to overcome the stigma that Florida was for quote unquote old people.
So we reached out to our friends in Florida. And frankly, we have more friends on the East Coast than we do on the West Coast. But we came here and we spent 10 days traveling up and down the West Coast, and we really liked what we saw. Our most popular video has been on downsizing. The link's below. But since then, we've actually upsized by moving to Florida and making this our permanent residence.
And so many people started asking us questions like, why and how did you end up in Florida? We have 6 kids, so I have to tell you, the decision did not come easy.
So today, we're going to share with you all the steps that we took, the challenges we faced, and the thought process we went through when making this big decision.
Really, 3 factors got us thinking about this. First, the cold winters in Connecticut. We were over it. We basically had given up skiing unless one of the kids begged us.
Right.
And we agreed we wanted warm weather all year long.
And the second thing that's affected the entire world is COVID. And COVID in the winter is even tough because you can't really go outside. Well, you can go outside, but it's cold. But the thing is, we felt so isolated. We couldn't really go out to dinner and sit inside. It didn't really make sense. So that was one thing. And the second thing, we just felt isolated from friends, family, and going to social events.
And the third thing really hit home for us, and that was a healthy lifestyle is critical to our well-being. And that really meant being outside.
So today, we're going to share with you the good, the bad, and the ugly.
There wasn't that much ugly.
There was ugliness about how we made this decision.
And at the end, please stay with us because we're going to give you a couple of steps in our recap that'll help you begin the process.
7 steps.
I don't think there's 7.
You'll see there's 7.
I don't think so.
I'm going to think of the 7th if there's only 6. So we began by sitting down and we made a list of questions that we wanted to answer. And it evolved into a much bigger project than, frankly, we had anticipated.
Most things that you do evolve into bigger projects.
That's okay, but we get through it, right?
What began as a desire for a vacation home in warm weather really evolved to us picking up and moving our residence to Florida full time.
So here are the key questions and decision areas that we came up with. We started with our finances in mind, because clearly that's important. Now, in our business, we don't do any financial planning, but we have a great
But in our life, we do financial planning.
And we have a great financial planner. So we sat down, the 2 of us, with our financial planner and went through, how much can we afford? Do we buy or rent? Do we want debt or don't debt? Or wait,
don't
do
debt.
We want
I
debt?
vote don't debt.
Don't debt. Do we want debt? Or
debt.
Or no debt.
Right.
We had to put together a budget. But once we crossed that hurdle, we began thinking more about what it is we wanted to do.
Absolutely. It was critical for us to be in alignment on this. And I have to tell you, when we started, we were not.
Are we now?
Florida was never on my list.
Me neither.
And we weren't even close. Many people would have given up, but we really wanted to keep the conversation going. For example, I wanted a small house. And Mark wanted a big house.
Yeah, and you wanted a beach house on the beach, but I was concerned about the upkeep and
Who
hurricanes.
doesn't want a beach house?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I was worried about being far away from my kids, and Mark really wanted a place where we'd create an environment that they would want to visit.
And the other thing that I wanted a condo with less upkeep, and you wanted a home.
Yeah, that's true. But we started to get aligned, and we really centered around one thing, and that was the warm climate.
Right, and that was easy.
Yes.
So once we had our finances out of the way and we knew what we were going to do, and we got aligned on warm weather, we built a matrix or a spreadsheet and began researching, we began thinking, we Googled 10 best places to live in retirement, and we started traveling to places.
And then we questioned, do we really want 2 homes? We spent the past 5 years building a life in Connecticut, a community, things we didn't want to give up. But we did decide we wanted the warm weather. So summers in Connecticut and winters in Florida.
or somewhere.
Somewhere.
Own or rent. We talked about that with a financial planner. But really, at this stage in our life, this is what helped us make this decision. We wanted a home. We wanted a home that we could call our own, one that we had all our personal belongings in, and one that our kids really felt comfortable in, and it felt like a home to them.
And it had our touch to it,
Our touch,
right?
yeah.
So the question was where to go, and nothing was off the table. We investigated the Caribbean, Central America, Costa Rica.
And we knew people in the Caribbean,
yeah.
Costa Rica, and Dominican, and they all loved it.
They did. And then we knew people and investigated the Carolinas and Georgia, and we decided for us that just wasn't warm enough.
Our friend in Georgia 2 weeks ago had snow.
Right.
We were trying to get away from snow, so it wasn't going to work. And then we thought about Arizona, and honestly, it's great there, but it's a desert, and there's no water.
Yeah,
There's,
I wanted
there's
the beach.
pools and lakes. We really wanted the beach. So Florida kept coming up.
Yeah, but then Florida was big. We had to narrow it down. Were we talking Key West? Were we talking the East Coast or the West Coast? We had to really, and I really had to overcome the stigma that Florida was for quote unquote old people.
So we reached out to our friends in Florida. And frankly, we have more friends on the East Coast than we do on the West Coast. But we came here and we spent 10 days traveling up and down the West Coast, and we really liked what we saw.
And listen, speaking of liking what you've seen, if you're enjoying this, hit like below and definitely subscribe so our content can get pushed to more people.
Yeah, we really want to keep spreading the word. So even go one step further and share this if you know someone that would really benefit from what we're talking about today. And we love when you leave a comment or a question. The questions are great because we're always looking for new topics to do videos on, like this one.
All right, get back to it.
All right. So, building a network of friends before we decided was important. As I just said a second ago, East Coast, we have a lot of friends, but they're scattered. They were, all the way from Miami up to where we have some
Jacksonville,
friends.
even?
Yeah, even Jacksonville. Yeah. So it was wide open, but the East Coast, and the East Coast had a golf community for us instantly because of all of our friends. They lived in golf communities. We don't have that on the West Coast.
But on the West Coast, we did dabble in Fort Myers a couple of years ago.
We did.
So we started to build a little community there. And for me, the clincher really was my brother, my only brother, wanted to come down and had a community that he was already building in Marco Island. So
Michael,
the West Coast really sold it for me.
So your brother Michael really, and if you're watching this, Michael, thank you. You were a huge influence in helping us decide that this is where we want to go. So we basically said West Coast, Marco Island, done. We checked the box. So that was good.
Well, and it was good because we love the beaches.
Right.
We love the sunsets. We love the casual feel of Marco.
Right.
And we love the weather. So it checked all the boxes.
Plus the airport.
And the airport was a stretch.
It's an hour, which isn't bad.
So when we created our matrix or spreadsheet, airport and location and accessibility was a big part of it. And an hour was on the outside.
But it's not bad. We're used to it.
I know. It's not bad.
All right.
But the lifestyle was important for us. Being able to go outside, being able to do things, golfing. We're now taking up bike riding, restaurants, the arts, and,
churches.
at some point, a faith base for us.
Yeah, we're starting to think more about that in our lives as we're getting older, and we're thinking about, life after life on the planet. Our faith is starting to increase. But the bike riding for me, I just started probably 2 months ago, or we started 2 months ago. I'm now addicted to it. I did a ride yesterday, just 25 miles. I've never ridden a bike 25 miles.
And had we been living in cold climate,
there's no way
we wouldn't been able to do it. We would have done it on the Peloton.
Yeah, that's not fun. We've owned these bikes for 12 years. We've never used them. So now we're using them all the time down here, and now we're going to bring them back up north in the summer and use them again.
So let's just talk about where we are in our progress, right? We worked on our finances and our budget. We thought about owning or renting.
Right.
We went the owning path. We took
picked
a
Florida.
long time to pick Florida.
But we did.
We did.
We found a network of friends down here, and we have a really good network of friends on Marco Island that we didn't even realize. And the longer we're here, the more people we meet that we knew back in New York.
And the last thing that we've covered so far is lifestyle. We wanted to be outdoors, we wanted more hobbies, we're piquing our interest in different ways, and we wanted that.
So all of that will probably work for you guys. But the other thing is this, our children. We have 6 children. One's married, 2 more engaged. We're going to have 6 kids and their partners and grandkids. And they are a core value of ours.
Absolutely. And it's always been our number one priority to stay connected to them. So we wanted a place where they would visit. But I have to tell you, with 6 kids and significant others, you can't have a place that big. But our kids are scattered, right? They're scattered all over the U.S.
Yeah, they're in California is where our grandson is as well. Texas, Connecticut,
Pennsylvania,
Philadelphia, New York City.
New York City.
And actually, a bonus, my son Christopher lives in Tampa, which is 3 hours from here, which is great.
Well, he's not only the bonus.
I know.
Your ex-wife also lives close to us, which is a draw for the boys to come and visit us all more often, which we like.
So someone would say, why would you want to live near your ex-wife? Well, we're friends, number one. But number two, if I can get our boys to come and be able to see us and their mom as well, who's a half an hour away, it's double the reason for them to show up. So that was important for us to pick a place where they come.
And, the girls, because we have 3 boys and 3 girls, the girls seem to visit wherever we are, which is a great thing.
Yeah, we're very lucky that way.
And our kids love to be together.
Right.
But that being said, bringing all the kids together would have you remember that Mark wanted a big house and Jody wanted a small house.
Well, when we did our downsizing video, and you really should watch that if you haven't yet, the link is down below. We got rid of the 5-bedroom house and moved into a 2-bedroom house in Connecticut, but there's enough room for everyone to sleep.
In fact, I always say, there's room for everyone, but not each of you has a room, if that makes sense.
But we were not going to buy a 5 or 6-bedroom house in Florida. First of all, can't afford it. Second of all, just too big.
Right.
So we adapted, and this was your idea, which was great. And we tested it during Thanksgiving. We had 18 people here for Thanksgiving. They're not going to fit in a 3-bedroom house.
Nor can I feed 18 people out of one kitchen. So we embarked upon Airbnb, VRBO, homestay, and we found locations near us where the kids had their autonomy in their own location, and they got to enjoy brothers and sisters in their own houses, but ended up here for the meals.
So we rented 2 Airbnbs within a mile of here, and it worked out perfectly for Thanksgiving. They were here for a week, and it was great.
So the point to all that is, as you're thinking about where you want to go, and you get through this worksheet, and then you think about your family, just remember, you don't have to have a place big enough for everyone. In fact, some of the best memories are people being crammed together.
And the other thing that we do that's important to us, particularly now the kids are starting out in their jobs, we pay for them to come visit.
We included that in our budget.
I don't know how long we'll do that for.
Right.
Some of them are actually super successful. They should be paying us to come visit them. But I don't know. But anyway, it's another enticement for them to come.
And we never want to make it a hardship for them to visit us, right? So
this has been a great start. This is definitely a new phase in a new location. We've been here for 4 or 5 months. We become Florida residents. We love that. And we got so many benefits out of it already.
We are. We're moving our bodies more and every day. We have a fantastic routine that we've gotten ourselves into here. Honestly, we're eating less beef and more fish.
Yeah, the fish down here is great. So we found, the fish is off the charts. Fresh fish every single day if we want it. We've enjoyed the kids coming to visit. We're always together. We get great one-on-one time, and they come with their significant others. I think in the next 6 weeks, we have 4 of our 6 kids coming to visit to stay with us, which is awesome.
Which is awesome. We've been exploring boating in a new way down here in Florida. We've always been boaters, but these are new waters. We've re-engaged with golf.
Yeah, that's been fun. We've
taken up some new hobbies, which has been fun.
The bike riding is great. Pickleball we haven't started yet, but we will.
Everybody tells us we should.
I know, but we're meeting new people, right?
Yep, we're finding some new nonprofits to engage in. We're spending more time together. So far in the past 4 months, we've really reaped some great benefits to this move.
So we asked you to stay to the end. Here is the 7 steps.
I'm going to count.
Process that you can use to get the ball rolling when you're thinking about a second home, or even just relocating to another state. So the first step, begin with your financial planner. We talked about it. You got to do that. Second, you've got to have good communication with your partner.
And be honest
Yeah,
about what you really want.
And you can't fight about it. You just, if
Just
you
communicate.
feel a certain way, then the other person needs to validate it. And it doesn't happen overnight.
And the third thing is push each other to define what really matters
To you.
to you.
Yeah.
And then prioritize your list. You know, I would tell you, dream big. I mean, like I said, we went to the Caribbean, we thought about Arizona, we went to different places.
Well-
so number 5, dream big.
Number 6, visit places. Get on an airplane or get in a car and go travel. When we picked Florida, we actually came down a year and a half ago thinking we were going to rent.
Right.
When we decided we were going to buy, then we moved into that phase. But the 7th one,
Oh, this is the one you added.
don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid. Listen, if it doesn't work out, we can sell this house.
Right.
We can move back. We can go somewhere else. Listen, I'm 65 very shortly. I'm planning on living to 100. That's a long time. This isn't forever what we did, but right now it works and we love it.
So we hope you enjoyed this. Please share it with your friends and click the subscribe button below.
And finally, don't forget to join our free Facebook community. The link is in the notes below. Thanks so much for listening, and we look forward to being with you again.